Imagine using Claude Code to run real automations for your business without writing a single line of code. Most people never even try because the terminal looks terrifying and they're scared that one wrong move runs up a massive bill or breaks their computer. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to set up Claude Code from scratch the safe way with no API key and no surprise bills. And then we'll build a real automation together step by step. By the end of this video, you'll be able to give your AI a permanent memory of how your business works, connect it straight to your Google Drive to create and edit files for you, and have it doing real work in minutes, even if you've never written a line of code in your life. And if you don't know who I am, my name is Jimmy Barkway. I run a profitable AI startup. So if you haven't already, grab that cup of tea and let's dive straight in. Claude Code is the most powerful AI that you can put in front of a business today. I'm going to show you how to set it up safely with no code and no API key necessary. Most people think that you need to have a ton of coding knowledge to even think about using Claude Code. But the reality is that Anthropic have invested a ton of money in making this as easy as possible for the average Joe to use. If you can type in plain English, then you can use Claude Code to grow your business. Two things that were circling around my head before I started becoming more AI native is one, how much is this going to cost me? And two, am I going to break my machine if I try this? Both of those fears were completely crushed when I started using Claude Code, and within a few days I realized that this is not going to be an issue. I started running Claude Code on a $20 a month pro subscription, which means I'm not paying for Claude's unbelievably high AI token costs, upwards of $50 for every million tokens. For the price of a $20 a month Claude subscription, if you were to max out the usage on that, you are getting multiple X's higher value out of that $20 than you would be if you were using API costs. If you're worried about Claude breaking your machine, then you can control which parts of your laptop it has access to. And it has safeguards in place so that it doesn't delete things unless you explicitly ask it to. You've probably heard horror stories about OpenClaw going crazy on a code base and deleting everything, including customer data, massive data loss. I've not heard any stories like that when it comes to Claude Code. Today, we're going to install Claude Code with a $20 a month flat fee, no crazy API token costs. And I'll walk you through this step by step. So by the end of this video, you're going to have your own personal AI assistant working for you. This single Claude login completely replaces any API token costs, and it has a ceiling to your costs, whereas the API key, there is no ceiling. It just keeps going up and up and up and up until you spend all of your money. When you hear about people racking up API bills into the thousands, there's a very good chance that people are using Opus 4.8 or Claude Fable 5 before it was discontinued for long-running coding sessions when they could have been using Claude Code instead under an Anthropic subscription. Claude Fable 5 is a more secure version of Claude Mythos 5, which is the most powerful AI model that has ever been released. We got the chance to use it for about 48 hours before the US government decided that it was a threat to national security. They issued a takedown notice to Anthropic and said that nobody can use these models, including Anthropic's own staff. These are the staff that actually created this model, and now they are not legally allowed to use it. Shortly after its release, people were already sort of jailbreaking Claude Fable 5, so they could use it to run cybersecurity attacks. So we'll see how this plays out. Hopefully it comes back soon. But if the US government are banning it, then that is a very good sign that these models can do some amazing things, hopefully for the good of mankind and not for the worst of it. There are 3 layers that stop Claude Code from deleting files on your computer without you asking it to. One is we're going to use something called plan mode, where Claude can only read your files as it puts together a plan that it will actually stick to. 2 is we can set permissions for Claude Code. Some permission levels make it more autonomous, but it can do things without asking you. Others cause it to ask your permission every time. And finally, it will not do any destructive actions on your machine without explicitly asking you first. We're going to walk through how to use MCP, which stands for Model Context Protocol. Think of it like a universal B-ports to connect Claude Code into all of the apps that you already use every day. And then we'll set up a permanent memory and real file access. So this could be step 1 of your Claude Code operating system, allowing you to save a ton of time and hopefully make more money. MemSearch is a permanent automatic memory system for Claude Code, giving it reusable memory between all of your Claude sessions. So when you ask it to save something to its permanent memory, that will stay there so that every new session can reference that in future. We're talking context on your business, on yourself, on the way you like to work. And then we'll give it access to Google Drive to not only read, but also write onto your drive, create files, docs, sheets, and do a lot of your work for you. And then I'll show you how how to run 2 Claude Code sessions at once. So you're not waiting on a response from one. You have multiple agents working for you, doing different tasks in potentially the same project. Now I'm going to show you how to install the Claude Code desktop app so you never have to touch a terminal again. This link will be down in the description. So you can hit try Claude in the top right, and you can just hit the download button right there. It's then going to prompt you to log in with an account. I use my Google account for this, and sign up for a subscription. I recommend starting out on a $20 a month pro plan. As you start to use Claude more and start to see ROI out of this, you can move up to different plans like a Claude Max plan, which is $100 a month. They have another plan just ahead of that, which is $200 a month, where you get 20x more usage. Once you're in, but look something like this, you'll have access to Claude Chat, which is just your normal Claude Chat session, Claude Cowork, which is kind of like a middle ground in between Claude Chat and Claude Code, but for maximum flexibility and full power over your machine and your apps, I would recommend going with Claude Code. Now we can select which folder we want to be working from with this button right here. Create a new directory on my desktop. This button in the bottom left, you can set different permissions. If you want it to be completely automated and have full access over your machine, then bypass permissions is the one to select. But if you're just starting out, I would recommend ask permissions, because then you get a good understanding as to what it's doing on your machine and what it's requesting access for. You can select your model in the bottom right. Opus 4.8 is the most powerful model available at the moment. Fable 5 was, but obviously it's been discontinued for some time. Then we have Sonnet 4.6 and Haiku 4.5. Haiku is great for just your standard everyday tasks, and if you want a really quick response. Sonnet, if you want much stronger model than Haiku. Sonnet is also great at coding. It can still build your apps. It'll do this much quicker than Opus 4.8 as well. But Opus 4.8 is the best model if you want to get the job done to the highest standard. And if you're happy to burn more tokens, but get faster responses at a higher cost, then you can enable fast mode for your Opus model. And then we set the effort level in the bottom right just here. So you can go all the way from low to max to all the way to ultra code. Now, the higher the effort level, the more tokens you're going to burn. Generally, the better quality outputs and the longer it's going to take. Now, more tokens burned means more money spent. For most tasks, I just leave it on high effort because that's a nice balance between speed and quality. And with this button, you can see your plan usage, how far along you are with your 5-hour limit and your weekly limit. Now I'm going to test this just to make sure Claude's actually working. Hey Claude, are you connected and ready to go? Send that message off and it starts thinking. Got a response back in about 2 seconds because we haven't actually asked it to do anything yet. You type the / key, you'll notice that you have a ton of what's known as skills, which are just predefined files filled with text, usually filled with instructions for writing email sequences. A custom skill I have for editing my videos, removing silences, bad takes, that sort of thing. A skill for creating skills. You can create your own skills. If there's ever a process that you find yourself doing more than once or twice a week, then you can create a custom Claude skill for that as well. So that next time it comes to do it, it does it to the same standard, it does it much faster. And when it learns something new, you can ask it to update that skill so that next time it comes to do it, it just gets better and better. So skills are awesome. And if you're ever doing anything more than just a one-off task or something that you really want Claude to get right, because it's a very specific way that you want to do it, I would start out in plan mode. This way, it's not going to write out any code. It's not going to do anything on your machine. It's purely just going to read. If you ask it to, it will research, and it will come up with a plan by asking you questions to find out how it should be doing the thing that you're asking it to. Now we're going to install semantic memory across your Claude sessions so that it doesn't forget key things about your business. We'll do that with /plugin, marketplace, add, and then this command right here. Now, if you get a message like this, it's because we have to install it from the official Claude marketplace. We can do that by copying this right here and then come down to the little plus icon, plugins, manage plugins, add a plugin, but we're not going to add a plugin. We're going to add a marketplace to start with. Add it from a repository. And then in here, we're going to paste that repository URL we just took. And then just hit use zilztech /memsearch and then hit sync. And you might have to refresh this for this to come up. But once it does, you can just hit the plus icon right there. And now it is installed and ready to use. But I would recommend you close your Claude Code session and then reopen the app completely. Because if your memory isn't working, then that's usually the reason why. Once we've reopened Claude Code, we can now save something to memory. Hey Claude, I've just installed the memsearch semantic memory plugin, and I want you to save this to permanent memory for me. 1, I work with SaaS founders and small business owners to help them automate their business, and my favorite color is Atlas Green. So it's saved both of those to permanent memory now, and it's done that by creating a new memory markdown file. Now this is not the same as memsearch. Memsearch updates its memory automatically in the background, and it won't update by you asking it like that. But if you do ask it like that, then Claude can create an actual memory file like it's done just now. Now I'm going to show you how to connect Claude Code to your Google Drive so it can start doing work for you, writing documents. I'm going to open a new session, hit the plus icon, go to connectors, and then manage connectors. You can see I've already got Google Drive connected, but if you just hit browse connectors, you can see literally hundreds of different things that you can be connecting to your Claude Code. It's become standard practice these days that if you have a software product, you need to be creating a MCP for it, Model Context Protocol, so that Claude can actually connect to it and it gives Claude hands outside of the coding environment. You can just type in Google Drive and then hit the plus icon, which will be right here. That'll prompt you to log into your Google account. And once that's done, it'll bring you back to Claude Code right here. Once again, I do recommend you close out Claude Code every time you add a plugin or an MCP. It's best practice to close it and then reopen it again, just to make sure everything loads in properly. Using the Google Drive tool, I want you to create a new Google Doc, which will be my Q3 marketing plan. Then I want you to bullet point step by step how I should be growing my YouTube channel in Q3. What should I be focusing on? Do your research, make it super tactical, and use plenty of emojis. Make it fun to read. So once we send that off, you should see in a second that it's going to call our Google Drive tool, doing its research first for YouTube growth tactics for 2026. Now it's using the create a file tool with the Google Drive MCP. So we know it's doing what it's supposed to. While it's doing that, we can actually start a new session. We don't have to wait for that to finish. We can just multitask with this and send off multiple agents to do their work. Build me a simple one-page weekly content planner as a single HTML file that I can open in my browser. Let me add, edit, and tick off content ideas and save them so they're still there when I reopen it. Keep it clean and easy to use. So while we're waiting for this, we can go back to our other session and see if it's got anything for us. And it looks like it's done building our marketing plan. And there it is, fully built out, tailored to my business, a step-by-step tactical guide for how to run my marketing in Q3. And it's even added a ton of sources there at the bottom. It's researched on my behalf. And it's finished creating that content calendar as well. Didn't take very long at all. And we can even tick things off like we asked to. Now I'm going to create a new skill. Hey Claude, can you create a new skill for me? Every month, I want you to do this same research to make sure that I am always fully up to date on what I should be focusing on with my channel. So that next time I ask you to do this, you know exactly what to do. Now, if it needs to clarify something, generally it's going to ask me questions like you see right now. You said every month, do you want this to run automatically on a monthly schedule or only when you ask? I want it to run. Where should the monthly plan docs be saved in Google Drive? Let's save them in a new YouTube focus folder. Okay, now it's setting up my scheduled task, monthly YouTube growth research, and tactical focus plan saved as a Google Doc to run every month. All set. Next time you say, do my monthly YouTube research, or it fires on its own, and then I'll know exactly what to do. Here's what I built. YouTube monthly focus, encodes the exact workflow we just ran, fresh web search, tailors to your channel, outputs a Google Doc, and sends it to the right place through the Google Drive MCP. And that's everything. You did all of this without coding. Safe setup, permanent memory, live Google Drive access, running multiple agents at once, every step written in plain, natural language and not typed into a terminal. Thank you for joining me on this journey today. YouTube is going to tell you what video to watch next.